Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your week. This is So Bad It's Good. We do a pop culture roundup every Monday, and we know that our Sophie is in Mykonos, where our next guest just came from, I think, at some point this summer. Our guest today is a fan favorite, a me favorite. She has been all around the country this summer. She invented Plot Girl Summer, which we'll talk about. Of course, all the pop culture stories that you're going to want to hear to start your week. Our favorite social media influencer, Lex Niko. Welcome back to the show, Lex.
Hi, how are you?
How are you? I heard you just lost your phone.
I know. A glowing reintroduction back to LA.
Welcome to the fall. Well, literally, it's called the fall for a reason. We fall in the fall.
Plot Girl Summer is over.
So you're back in Los Angeles now, right?
I'm back, and I'm staying here for a while.
Are you sure? Because it seems like you went everywhere overseas. Like, I mean, there was one point where I texted you. I said, "Hey, can you come on the pod?" You're like, "Yeah, but I'm in Amsterdam." You were in some like faraway place, and I was like, "Oh no, it's okay. Why don't you enjoy Amsterdam?" What happened? Where have you been?
So I went to Greece for a friend's birthday, and then while I was there, my work, I got an email from work, and they're like, "We're doing this thing where you can work from anywhere for 90 days of the rest of the year." And I was like,
"What?
Oh, okay." So some of my friends that were on the boat were going to be in Portugal, and so they're like, "Come to Portugal for a bit." So then I went there, and then I went to Germany to see my cousins. And then I got stuck in Amsterdam for a day, but it was fine.
Because of like weed stores or like what?
Yeah.
How did you?
Because I needed to get high.
Yeah. Wait. So if I remember correctly, because of your Instagram stories, when you were in Greece, weren't you like on a person's birthday that you had just met or something like that?
Yes. So I have a mutual friend with this guy, and we met in LA with the mutual friend because he was visiting, and we just like hit it off. And he's like, "I'm having a bunch of people for my birthday on this boat in Greece, come." And he like sent me the itinerary, and I'm like people are serving up a trip to Greece for me on a silver platter. I've never been to Greece. Of course I'm going to go.
Lex, you realize most people that get that invite, they say, yeah, and then they don't go. Like, you know, like people like I've gotten like random. I mean, they're never as fancy as that, but it's like, "Hey, come to Vegas." I'm like, "Hey, yeah, let's do this." And then I never come. But you were actually like, do you think he was surprised? Like, "Oh shit, she's coming."
No, I mean, he was great. It was so fun. And like, it was more.
Who are you? Who have you become? And because by the way, too, guys, it's been a nonstop summer where it's like, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Yes. But with Lex Niko, then I open it up and you're at the hot girl tennis tournaments from last week. Every girl that I know on Instagram is at this tennis tournament or whatever. You were there too.
I know. Okay. So that was a throwback. I went last year. I was not in New York. I was in Toronto. Yeah.
Okay. I was like, everybody I know. Yeah. Because that seemed like prime posting. I saw every girl was at this tennis tournament.
I know.
I'm like, that's the hot ticket.
Plot Girl Summer, you know.
Wait, what is Plot Girl Summer? I feel like you invented this. What is Plot Girl Summer? Not Hot Girl Summer, Plot Girl Summer.
Plot Girl Summer. I was like, I'm not a hot girl. I'm not saying I'm ugly, but I'm not like an Instagram model hot girl doing my thing. So I was like, but I'm a plot girl. Like, I'm down for whatever. I am going to say yes and just like do my thing. And so that's what Plot Girl Summer was. It was just, I'm going to do whatever I feel like doing. And that's what I did.
I mean, and I hate to be, I don't know, like you are kind of a hot girl. So I feel like Plot Girl is like, you almost are co-opting something that you don't deserve. Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like other people might deserve Plot Girl Summer, but I really, don't you sell shirts that say Plot Girl Summer?
Yeah. So Serena Kerrigan, she's like a dating influencer. She really loved the concept of Plot Girl Summer. So we did merch together and we sold sweaters. So it was great.
Are they still available since it's no longer summer?
No, they actually sold out. So yeah,
you had a sold out. Look out, Kanye, which we'll be talking about today.
Gap should call me.
Okay, wait. So, how did you lose your phone last night? Or you lost your phone today because you went out last night, right?
I went out last night and I was taking an Uber back to my car and I was on the phone and I put my phone down and I got out of the car to go to my car and then he drove away. But this person, like I can see it on Find My Phone, and
Yeah.
he's literally 10 minutes away from me.
Did you do the alarm? Because you can make the alarm keep going loud, loud, loud.
I know it's not working. Like he's not, it must still
Well,
be
he's
in the back of
probably
his
working.
car.
He's probably working. He's probably driving somebody else around, and that might be part of it too. Because I did the same exact thing less than a year ago, and I had to keep hitting it, and finally got him.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit it. And I also emailed Uber, so I'm like, can you please just
Oh,
contact?
they're useless. You're gonna have to keep hitting that.
Oh my God, for real?
Yeah, for real. Like, but I mean, it'll eventually, you do know where it is. Like, I mean, screenshot all that dude's information, obviously.
Yes.
And this is a note for all you guys listening too. You can do this when you do this, which you will do this. This is good to know. Where did you go last night? Where did Plot Girl Summer take us?
It was a friend's birthday, so I was at Bungalow and then Winston House. Real.
Oh, yeah. Wait,
I gotta go.
Were you with Kay York City last
Yes,
night? Oh,
yes.
my God. Wait, didn't she just turn blonde? I was looking at her Instagram.
She had a blonde moment.
I love it. I just go through the summer and I work the entire summer. I don't have any kind of plot guys. I mean, I literally, the last time we talked was in, I think, May, and there's been no changes. Like there's zero changes.
I see you going to the gym.
That's the only place I go for an hour. Well, actually, no, this is not true. My friend had a free ticket to Primavera Sound in Los Angeles last night. And I went and saw like 9 Inch Nails and Karungabin, which was actually, it was totally not planned. But I will say this, in terms of guys, I was seeing a lot of pleather pants. And I was like, I can't go along for this journey.
Really?
Like the fashion there was so interesting that I was like, I need to get out more because it was such an amalgamation of so many different fashions. I guess we'll start in pop culture with, what do you think of, and I guess Kay actually is involved in Yeezy Gap, but what do you think so far of the Yeezy Gap? Do you own any Yeezy Gap? And you don't need to say anything about the Gap portion of it, but what do you think about Kanye and the designs?
I mean, okay, so I got the first blue jacket that they did.
Yes, yeah.
So I got the jacket. I didn't buy any of the like hoodies or t-shirts or jeans because at a certain point I'm like, why am I going to pay $300 for a t-shirt just because it's engineered by Balenciaga?
And what does engineered mean? Are we like, so what does it mean that we're like in a car factory? What is engineered?
I think it's like they make it in the same factory, but honestly, I was like, I don't care. I don't care.
And it's $250, which for, I know women, like they're used to spending high prices for fashion, but like me, it was like the hoodies like cinch in at the waist, and I've got thick thighs and I can't have a cinch in at the waist. You know what I'm saying?
Of course. It's crazy. Like I was not interested in getting anything past the jacket. And like, it just looked like a Gap sweater. And I was like, I can buy a Gap sweater. It's fine. And the way Kanye's handled it is like, he's just being nasty, man.
Yes.
Like,
I mean, is this how business is done? Because you work for Pinterest, and we've talked about that before. And I feel like you have a good head on your shoulders for what goes on in business and pop culture. I was talking about this with my trainer this week, one of the only places I go. And we were talking about Yeezy Gap because he has this unfair advantage of such a massive audience that he can shout out to at any time. So anytime Kanye's upset in a contract negotiation, he immediately cries on Instagram about it. And he then immediately like can affect stock. It's like Elon Musk does the same thing.
yes.
If you notice isn't that unfair in a way?
I just think it's like bizarre behavior for an adult to do. Like it's crazy that, and I understand, like I can understand why he does it because it works. He has that audience, like today, but like it's nuts to me that he throws a temper tantrum on the internet, calls all these people out. And I'm like, who's photoshopping those graphics? Like, are you doing this yourself?
Yeah. By the way, when the Skeet Davidson was happening and there was the Marvel Civil War one, and I was like, this is a man that has made some of the greatest albums of all time. Please tell me he's not doing what I'm doing at home, photoshopping faces on posters. I was like, that to me, I was like, should I go make an album now? Like, am I at that level? I
just don't get it. I'm like, he can't be doing it. I'm like, he's got to get an assistant to do it. And I don't know which one is worse, but either way, I'm like, bro, get off the internet. Like, especially with the family stuff. I'm like, keep your dirty laundry off of Instagram.
Lex, that's the deal, because it's like, okay, he'll be like, 3 things I care about: Gap, Adidas, my family. And I'm always like, why don't you just do my family? And
Correct.
then the business stuff, you can do business like with your business people. But like the family thing is always thrown like wedged in there. He did a podcast this week, the Aloe podcast, you guys, 38 minutes. And he has a bunch of nuggets of wisdom in there. He says he doesn't read. He's never read a book. It's like Brussels sprouts, which is fine. You know, like you can get your information other places. He also said, though, that Kim Kardashian has the kids 80% of the time. He has it 20% of the time. So he'll always give Kim tips on how to parent, which is just, I mean, it's so funny to think of, like, you know, it's like this is, I say it from Erica Jane to Kim. Remember what you marry or date into. Remember that.
Yes.
You all, like, there's going to be massive upswings. You couldn't argue that, you know, Kim is where she's at because of Kanye. But now on the downside of this, she has to get tips every day on how to parent from Kanye West, who's never around. Yeah.
Could you imagine? She's with the kids 80% of the time, and then this man rolls through and is trying to tell her how to parent her children. Like, but he's an egomaniac, right?
Yeah, he's like, I know how to parent, when he's proven to do, I'm counting like 1 billion things wrong in terms of parenting, like literally puts all the business online, puts all, like, calls out the grandmother, calls out. I mean, it's really, truly amazing. I mean, he says, you know, he's not, remember, they have not officially gotten through the divorce because Kanye's on his 6th divorce lawyer. And they have not come to an agreement. He wants the kids more. But my thing is, like, for the amount Kanye works, where do you have time to parent more than 20%? I mean, how many kids do they have? Isn't it 5?
They have 4 kids, 4 kids. Yes. And he is constantly, like, he's going to Wyoming. He's in the studio, he's designing. Like, that's the thing too, is it's the inconsistency that is a problem with parenting. And I'm not, like, I don't know Kanye obviously, but it's like, bro, you cannot expect to have your kids more than 20% of the time if you are not willing to be consistent and available for their schedule more than 20% of the time.
Well, I was also thinking, he said 20, he's like, Kim has it 80%, which then I took Kanye as at 20, but I didn't think necessarily say that. So maybe he has the kids 10% and then like nannies and stuff have it 10%. Like, who knows what that breakdown truly is. But the only reason I'm bringing all this up top, you guys, is because get ready. We've got Kardashian season 2 premiering this week on Hulu, which I really enjoyed the first season. No joke. But we have season 2. Who knows to what degree Kanye will be a part of it. But I talked to you last when Kanye and Pete were still a thing. I'm sorry, not Kanye. Kim and Pete were still a thing. What were your personal thoughts? I didn't get to speak to you personally when it all fell apart. What did you have feelings on this?
I did. Honestly, I was upset because, you know, I feel like I manifested them, but I'm confused because it seemed like everything was going so well. And then suddenly they were done, like, out of nowhere. And I was like, 2 things. I was like, okay, was this PR? Number 1, but number 2, like, what actually happened? Because it felt very sudden. Don't you agree?
It did feel very sudden because we had just weeks prior, Kim on like the Today Show talking about how as a couple, they love skincare, and she was trying to scale her. And I was like, well, that's interesting. It's, you know, like they were really hinting at in season 1 that you find the right person in your 40s, that, you know, you have your best sex in their 40s. They had these whole scenes where I was like, damn, Kim's real. And Pete went on the Kevin Hart show and said his dream is to be a father.
Yes.
He had the tattoos on Pete's body, which, by the way, doesn't mean anything because Pete literally has a tattoo of everything on his body. So that's not the brand. But remember, he branded himself.
I know.
You can't take that back.
You can't take that away. But this is the thing. It's like, it seemed like they were really in it, and then suddenly they weren't. And like, didn't she say like they don't make them like him ananymore? And she like complimented him.
Well, 28-year-olds, they make a lot. I saw a lot of them last night. Yeah.
I saw a lot of them at Bungalow. But like, it was just, it felt super sudden. And like, I want to know what the story is, the real story. And then they'll get back together.
That's the other thing. That's what I was about to say, was that you see then a lot of these blind items or Demois or something saying, you know, like they will definitely get back together. And I think one was like, once you have a little Pete, you can't stay away or something. And I was like, I mean, this is like it's like the John Hamm pictures in the gray sweatpants that I always talk about, where his big dong is showing, and everybody and John's like, please don't focus on that. And I'm like, what an awesome, this guy does nothing, and people just go around going like, oh, that guy has a big dong. Pete's the same way, and I feel it's unfair is that Pete's literally doing nothing, and he has blind items like, once you get a little Pete, you can't stay away. That's so, he does nothing for that good press.
He's literally minding his business. Like, isn't he filming in Australia? He doesn't.
He finished finally that movie, so he's back, and he was at the Emmys on Monday night presenting a comedy award. Because remember, he does have a new show that'll be coming out on NBC Peacock where Edie Falco plays his mom, and they'll start filming that. Lauren Michaels is producing it. So
I
that's
didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's so exciting. I knew that he filmed that, and then he, excuse me, he has the rom-com coming out with Kaylee Cuoco, and I think that's straight to like Hulu or something like that too. Isn't that weird? Oh, really?
Straight to Hulu or Peacock, yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I'm excited for it. I hope it does well. I feel like they look so cute, but I thought they were hooking up because she got divorced when they were filming that movie.
I love you, dude. Everybody this guy hangs out with, they're hooking up. Like I've had girls go out of their way to tell people we're not hooking up. I've had girls like go out of their way. Like somebody literally DM'd me the other day, like, "Oh, I love you," and like reply to a joke, like, "Oh, I love you," haha. Like, and I was like, I get, like, "Oh, funny, haha." The same person DMs me back 6 hours later, goes, "Hey, I was drunk. I didn't mean I love you. I love you," and I'm like, I didn't respond to that. I didn't even, what are you talking? I know you don't love me.
Cross my mind that you were in love.
Then I was triggered about like 5th grade Ryan, where I told a girl I liked her, and she went out of her way to say she didn't like me, and I never told anybody I liked him ever again in my life. And so that DM, I was like, I don't even know you. What are you talking about? I know you don't love me.
You're like, I get it. I get it.
I exploded.
But even Martha Stewart went on a podcast and was like,
81 years old, by the way.
Do amazing. She looks so good. I'm obsessed with her. And she's just getting better with age.
I thought she to me is kind of hot. Like, I mean, if you're Pete, why not?
Seriously, if they started dating, I'd be like, holy hell. But no, I like that she just has all of these like Snoop, Pete, Young Gravy. She's got all these kids keeping her young.
Young Gravy, man. I love saying that guy's name, but I have no clue who he is. He looks like a malnourished Glenn Powell from Top Gun Maverick. And you guys showed up to the MTV, was it the movie or music awards with Addison Rae's mom, which is just, I mean, imagine you're Addison Rae. You're already having a weird career because you started off doing dances on TikTok.
Yeah.
And then your parents completely get more obsessed with fame than you do. And your mom ends up dating Young Gravy, and they go on the red carpet and kiss.
Oh my God. And you want to talk about airing out drama? Like, yes, we can criticize Kanye, but let's also talk about, I think her name's Cheryl. And I forget the dad's name.
Yeah, I know.
Louis or something.
Yeah, he's hitting on 19-year-olds and yeah, it's something like a Randy Lopez or
but like he's like challenging Young Gravy to a boxing match.
Yeah. Oh, his name's Monty.
Yeah. And I'm like, yo, Addison is tweeting about how she's having a tough time, and you two are putting all this shit out there. Like, come on.
Yeah, the dad like keeps raising his shirt like to show off like kind of like
abs?
like third of abs, know, he's like, you want this? And we're like, what is okay. I know, if Bill and Becky Bailey ever started shit, like I'd be like, oh, podcasting was a big mistake. I should have never tried to get known.
Please take their phones away.
The last two things about the Kardashians, or I guess Kanye, you guys, by the way, just to what we started with, he did file paperwork to remove himself from the Gap, supposedly. So that is going to be done because they're coming to the end of what was required by the contract. And Kanye's lawyers are saying that Gap broke certain areas of the contract. I don't know, but he wants out. And he also wants out of Adidas, but it seems like he might have made a deal to stay longer. We'll probably find out more this week on Instagram because that's where he'll let us know.
That's where he lets us know.
But I mean, I know a lot of you guys dislike the Kardashians so much, and Kanye to a degree, but I find it truly fascinating that they're both billionaires and they both come at business in very different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they're they both feel unstoppable at this point. I feel like
yes.
And I'm not necessarily happy about that. I just feel like it's like so bizarre that this is where we're at with both of them. Billionaire status.
Billionaire status. They both went about it the different way. I won't say wrong or right way, but like a different way. And they both found success. It's so wild to me. But then also, did you see that now Kanye's opening up a school? The Donda.
I have that Donda
That
Academy,
to me is too far.
So Rolling Stone did an article on Thursday about this because everybody that they're already classes already in session. They are and they're not an accredited school yet, but he has hired people. They've already been staff departures. Rolling Stone does this great article with the information they do have. It's $15,000 a year in tuition. The basketball team is already close to being the number one basketball team for like high school in Los Angeles, which is they're competing against something that where LeBron James's son goes to another high school, like basketball high school, but they're already on the cover. This Donda Dubs team, they're on the cover of like national like sports magazines and stuff. So they have one of the best basketball teams ever. That's why you always see paparazzi photos of Kanye at these basketball events and Kim as well, just like the other night. They're already in. And so on top of it, Kanye released that he's also going to start selling Donda Dubs merchandise for the basketball team to make money. Oh my God. Because it's the dub that he put on the Gap thing. I mean, it's just like, but already this basketball team, but the school part of it is not accredited. So they don't know if it can get these guys into college, but for the sports aspect of it, they might just sign directly to the NBA. And right now the classes are like parkour, which is like just jumping on things.
Yes.
Molecular gastronomy for like food and stuff. Like they show you, they were like coming up with like different ways to make like strong coffee. The article said. God. It sounds like the high school I wanted to go to that you just did what
didn't exist.
Like, you didn't like what you liked. And then you did. This was one of the classes, free running.
Free running?
Kids just run free. No, I'm not joking.
Oh my God. I also saw that there's like a quiet stick and the kids had to sign NDAs, these families.
Yeah. Cause they couldn't get anybody.
Like who is sitting there being like, yes, I'm going to send my kid to this school.
No, this sounds great. Yeah. This sounds amazing. Like, I mean, this is how armies get built, you guys. Yes. Like Taylor Swift isn't having a school yet. Like, thank God. But the other thing he said on this podcast, he goes, there's always like 10% that you're like, well, that's a pretty amazing thought. And then like usually, 50 to 60, you're like, this is crazy. He goes, why, when kids cry, parents say, use your words. No, let them cry. The cry is the language. The cry is the emotion. And you're like, okay, he's, be in touch with emotions. Yes. But Kanye's mistaken though. I don't even have kids. And like, I think, use your words. It's when kids are throwing tantrums. There's a difference between crying and emotional and a tantrum.
Yes.
If you're having a tantrum, kids are throwing everything against the wall and cannot the crying is always encouraged from the parents that I've been around of like, yeah, it's sad, isn't it?
It's okay to cry. Yeah. It's okay to show emotion. Yes. But like when they're throwing a temper tantrum, which I feel like he does himself. I just feel like he needs to take his own advice or his own lesson and be like, no, I'm going to shut it down.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like North, do not cry. What do we do when we cry? We go to Instagram and we make a meme. Exactly. That's what we do. That's where we let it out. Also, he's now supposedly I love how press releases PR works is they put out that he's dating this new Victoria's secret model, Candace Swapinol.
Yes.
Really? Where's he have to, I've never seen them really? It's the same thing, which is another story I want to talk to you about. Gigi Hadid and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes.
Or is it Bella?
It's Gigi. It's Gigi.
Like, why press release this crap? Why even put it out there? There's so many blind items. Like the Kanye and Candace thing. I'm like, I just don't I don't care first off, but you can also just not date anybody. It feels like a move to try to make Kim jealous, which is just dumb because at this point, I just don't think she cares anymore.
I agree. I feel like with him though, it's an infatuation. Like we saw this with Julia Fox. We saw this with the other girl. And it's like, he's trying to take these women and morph them into what he thinks their ideal vision will be, because that's what he did with Kim. And like you said, I feel like it's like him trying to almost like slap her in the face, being like, I did this to you, I can do it with anybody. But really, he just probably wants to be with Kim.
But then he's unleashing, like, listen, everybody else besides me, I think, is on the Julia Fox train. Like, he truly did make something out of, like, she was already somebody. I loved her working Uncut Gems, and she was an underground artist in a way, I guess. But I don't love that she is it's, to me, I'm like, I didn't need a Julia Fox. I feel like it's like, okay, great. I'm happy for you. We'll see how the years go. But people, like, I'll still read things of like, oh my God, she's giving it all. Oh, honey. And I guess, as not being a girl, like, I sometimes don't get the joy that brings certain ladies to see somebody like fierce like that or something.
Yeah. I mean, she's empowered, which is cool, and she's great. But again, it's like, I don't pay a lot of attention to her anymore, to be honest, after the whole Kanye thing. Like, I kind of got over it pretty fast.
Yeah.
But you're right. There are a lot of people that are like, she's serving. She is the moment. Da, 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 da.
Yeah,
like,
she's going out in like bread bags and like, oh, like how interesting. Like this. I mean, that's what I'm saying. She's like begging to wear like wire hangers. Like that's like, what else are you're like the Carrot Top of fashion, where you're just trying to put different things on your body and then get photographed outside. And to me, that's exciting to some people. But for me, I mean, I look at a lot of things like this, but it gets me sad. I'm like, no, this is sad. Like, she's getting herself in these weird costumes and like fuller brushes and shit like that.
Yes. Just to be talked about still, to extend her 15 minutes.
I mean, could you date Kanye? Would you, if Kanye was at Bungalow last night and said, oh shit, Lex Niko, Plot Girl Summer, what's up? He goes, I want you tomorrow. We're going to go to Paris. All you need to do is go pack a bag right now. Remember your phone. Don't forget it. And would you go?
Oh, this is so tough, because I want to go to Paris, but I don't. There's no part of me that feels any intimate or romantic attraction to Kanye. So, like, if I had to put out, I don't think I could do that.
Well, he's going to be like, it's cool. We'll see what if he says, we see where it goes?
Yeah, I would go.
I gotta go, Lex. This is too. I cannot. You literally. This is so not. No, Lex. No, like no, because then this is gonna affect every other guy you date for the rest of your life. True. You're always gonna be like, this is the girl that went to Paris with Kanye the night up. Yeah, like, and she didn't want to hook up with him, but she was like, he said, let's see where it goes, and she went. Ruin it. No,
my morals are so low after Plot Girl Summer. I'm like, trip to Europe. Wait, yes.
Where are you with DiCaprio and the Hadid?
I don't care. Like when Page Six, and like, I loved you posting all the Daily Mail headlines, and I was like,
insane.
This is like, so I don't need to hear this. I don't need to hear what her dad thinks about it. I don't need to see grainy photos of them. I'm like,
I know. It's like, yeah, those are two people. Yeah. They have their first shot
over 25.
But by the way, it's like DiCaprio always wears the pulled down hat and the mask. Like, he's not exciting visually in real life anymore, which is fine. Like, I think he's just a really amazing actor. But I love that he is actually getting credit for dating somebody 2 years older than he usually does. It's like he's dating a mature woman, But
again, do we not have to question the timing of this as well, with all of that press coming out about him breaking up with people who are 25? Like, again,
but why not go to it? If you, this is what I don't understand, press, Lex, is that like, why not then, if you're trying to throw things a curveball, go with a 33-year-old, go with a 34-year-old. Like, why 27? It's still it's still laughable, because I can make a stupid joke of like, oh, a mature woman, 2 years,
Exactly. But I think maybe that was his compromise. He's like,
these people were like 33, goes, I will not go over 27. I will not go.
That is my limit. Swear to God. I don't care. I'm like, why is this news? Like, why are we applauding this man for dating a 27-year-old? He's 40.
I mean, at this point, he's going to do what he's going to do. Like, all of our jokes for all of this time have done nothing. He is not, he doesn't really do interviews. He lets his work speak for himself. And I always think this about pop culture and PR is, if you remain quiet, it is always the strongest position you can have.
Yes.
Because you let people wear themselves out talking about you, and eventually they give up, or we still go hard on DiCaprio, obviously, but we don't have a response back to see that it's getting to him necessarily. I mean, you could say the 27-year-old might be, but in reality, I don't think we've ever had a like, come on, guys, it's not funny,
Literally never. He just carries on with his business, dating these hot models. Like he literally just lives his life. He's like, I want to act. I want to talk about climate change, and I want to date a 25-year-old model. People can poke fun left, right, or center. And he's like, cool, I'll be on my yacht.
Which shows you, I really truly think most celebrities don't give a rip, like
No.
about us.
No.
I mean, which nor should they in certain ways. Okay. So what are you watching on TV right now? I know you've been busy, so probably not a lot, but are you familiar with Selling the OC on Netflix yet?
Oh, I watched that.
You're like that? No, that I'm on. Okay.
Are we going to talk about Tyler?
Yes. We're going to talk about that right now. Now, you guys, we've been covering Selling the OC on the Patreon, recapping every episode. We'll be up to episode 4 this week of an 8-episode season. And me and Kate Legayco, we had called the first episode. We were like, this Tyler guy who was married to Brittany Snow, who was in the Pitch Perfect series, had been married for 2 years. We were like, something's up because everybody's cuddle puddling in this OC real estate group, which, I mean, I've worked at places where people have been friendly, but we've never cuddle puddled at the, Blockbuster Video. And they're on the beach. And Alex Hall, I call her Boobs McGee because her boobs are always like out in her dress.
Yeah.
And she was like, cuddling him at the beach. You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. And then she put her mouth over his nose, and then Polly went streaking. And I'm like, this is all ways of inappropriate for the workplace. Like,
this is not what real estate is all about. This is not what real estate is all about. I would not sell I don't have a home, but I would not sell my home with them just because I'd be like, I do not want to deal with this group of
no,
people.
not at all. And I don't need my real estate agent showing up with her shirt down to here and her boobs up to here.
That's what I was like. It's not just one outfit. Every outfit Alex Hall wears on this reality series is a boob outfit. Like, I'm not trying to be a gross dude, but I'm saying they're out. She's proud.
She's proud, like every outfit. And it's not a little boob, it's heavy boob.
Yeah. And by the way, also these are fake boobs, but they're different kind of fake boobs. They're like teardrop fake boobs. I said that you'll guys see if you watch the show, but basically this Tyler guy, he's like a cool surfer dude. He was raised in like that beach area, Newport Beach. Yeah. And on Thursday or Friday, they announced that they are splitting up after 2 years of marriage. And they did that Instagram post of like, we have so much respect for each other as friends, blah, blah, blah. It was a pandemic relationship or marriage, obviously.
Yeah.
But then the same day, you guys, he is photographed at like a Chili's or TGI Fridays or some shit. And Alex Hall is like, they're smelling each other.
Yes. It's so disrespectful. Again, I don't know what you're doing with your life, bro. You go do you.
Yes.
But if you're going to do that to my girl, Brittany Snow, the day you announce that you're separating, like it's so thirsty.
Even if it's not true, even if it's just a random moment, don't go out where there's cameras on the day that you announce you're getting a divorce potentially. Don't do that.
That's why it's like he wanted to be seen. They wanted to like ride the wave of the divorce announcement because everybody loves Brittany Snow. And like, he just is like sucking at the teat of her fame. I'm so,
well, I mean,
really
it is funny.
Me.
Brittany Snow is not in the first season of Selling the OC, which I thought was interesting, but they do use her name a couple of times. And it is interesting. Like none of the guys in this show you can get a real beat for, except for Gio has a very strong personality, but the rest are like good looking dudes that I kind of mix up a lot of the times. Tyler's just different because he has darker hair than the other guys that have sandier hair, but he has the tattoos too. But Alex Hall seems like kind of in love with him in a way, like throughout the series. She was on Heather McDonald's podcast, I believe, and said something to the effect, or she said something of like, Heather said something like, I think Tyler will be single in the second season. And Alex Hall said, no, he'll be with somebody. He'll still be with somebody or something vague like that. But I was like, and Demois had posted this and I wrote her back and I was like, yeah, she means she'll be with somebody. She'll be with me, Alex Hall. He'll be with me, Alex Hall. And that's what, because then a couple days later after the Heather McDonald thing, they announced the separation last week. And I was like, and then we get that photo, dude. As a girl, do you, and speak for all ladies, feel free to speak for all ladies.
Sure, of course.
Do you, I mean, and in you did plot Girl Summer. Plotting. Do girls plot this hard? Do girls plot of like, I like this dude, he's married, but if I work on it hard this summer, I can split them up and I can be there for him to smell me at Chili's later on. You know, like, do you guys plot that hard?
I think that there are some women that absolutely do that.
Not you, right?
Not me.
You.
I would never do that again. Like, I will say this hands down, watching the show, even though I actually really liked Selling the OC, I preferred it over Selling Sunset.
Me too. Within the first
really
10 minutes. Yeah.
But like, I was like, this rubs me the wrong way. This is all types of inappropriate that I don't like. I don't like the man going out and leaving his wife with their 2 kids. I don't like that, you know, like,
well, yeah, he goes, I think it was his name, Austin. He's like, I have to put food on the table for my kids. And I'm like, well, maybe don't buy $800 outfits. I can buy a lot of food. Like, the guy's like, obviously, well, yeah, like, you're not spending time with your family. Like, it's weird. He's so like
weird.
Yeah. So, but it's very watchable. I think it actually perfects what they started on Selling Sunset. And it almost reminds you on Selling Sunset that these are like paper thin character archetypes.
Yes.
Like they're barely there. They're hot. And that's it, really. There's no plot line where I see a lot more future for plot lines on Selling the OC.
Same, especially because there are the men, like the male female dynamic in those relationships, that there's like different kind of drama that you can get. Like at a certain point on Selling Sunset, it's like, I don't need to see Chrishell and what's her name? Christine Quinn fighting again. Like, I've seen it.
The only thing I am excited about Selling Sunset is I hope G-Flip is a part of it. Chrishell's non-binary girlfriend. Yeah. Like I want to see that dynamic so bad. And especially with those kind of glossy cameras, because G-Flip, from what I've seen of them in just photos, seems very animated. So that energy on G-Flip around Jason and the other bald brother, Brett, and I want to see that. That actually really excites me for some reason.
I know. G-Flip gives me like Cara Delevingne energy.
Cara Delevingne, by the way, is another story we need to talk about. If you are a reader of the Daily Mail, the only paper of note, the New York Times of trash, which I read it more than I read anything else. They are on Cara Delevingne watch. I would not know. Like every day now, there is a new article about Cara Delevingne where supposedly there has been interventions. We have a photo of Margot Robbie looking disturbed coming out of her house, supposedly after talking to her. She went to Burning Man. We see these burnt out photos where Jay-Z's private jet, which she was on, wouldn't take off at a private airport in Van Nuys. Had to wait for 45 minutes with her on the plane. She had to deplane. And then there's like all these paparazzi photos of her with her like socks on, smoking, looking just wrecked. And even before Burning Man, which is a festival out in the desert, you guys, for artists. And it's like, you probably saw it on Instagram, but there were photos of her strung out, going to the Pleasure Chest, which is a sex toy shop in Hollywood, coming out, smoking, changing pants, had bruises all up her legs. And it looks like she is in, we can only speculate. The thing is, I've always made fun of Cara Delevingne, I guess up to the Megan Thee Stallion stuff, or like because I thought her behavior has always been weird, and it's really turned me off of Cara Delevingne.
Yes.
With these articles, it now has turned into, I'm actually genuinely nervous, especially after Anne Heche, a couple. What is your take on all this?
I mean, when I saw those photos of her at the airport, I was like genuinely concerned. Like the Megan Thee Stallion situation, I was like, okay, maybe she's just being quirky, whatever. But then
she's that annoying friend. Quirky.
Yes, like that's it's been almost like a steady decline of erratic behavior, and I'm like, something is wrong. And then I really was worried when you saw Margot Robbie leaving her house crying. Like that to me is like, that is exactly what we think it is. She's trying to help her friend, and her friend is being unresponsive, and she's afraid and she's upset.
And it's weird because Los Angeles, there's a lot of photographs of her in these times of trouble where she's smoking weed openly, but it's Los Angeles, and you kind of can do that. So it's like that, but you wonder then what else is it? Because it's not just marijuana, it's not just, is it alcohol? Is it other substances? We don't know for sure, but we do know, obviously. And I just get nervous, because these behaviors, if you are a student of pop culture, they go in cycles as well. Like, remember when, Lindsay was in the depth of her, partying days, or even the Paris Hilton. People forget that Paris Hilton was arrested. Paris Hilton went to jail. Lindsay Lohan went to jail. Like these people, once these things start happening, they start happening in rapid succession where they just end up finding trouble all within the same amount of time. And they're also being followed by paparazzi as well. So that adds to it.
Yes, exactly. And it's like you said, like, it's like this steady decline. And we saw it begin, I think, with the Meg Thee Stallion stuff, but now it's like every few days, we're seeing something else about it. And it's kind of like, it's scary. Like I am pretty afraid of what could possibly happen because she doesn't look good. Like
No.
I'm not trying to be critical, but I'm just like, it's awful.
Yeah. So, I mean, keep your eye on that. I have a feeling we're going to hear a lot more about that, hopefully in a way where she decides to go off and clean out and stuff.
Yeah.
What else are you watching? I know, where are you on Bravo? Because I know you're not caught up on Housewives.
Yeah.
I mean, but the thing is it's so funny because if you just go around Instagram, though, following the people we follow, you know everything anyways. I wanted to draw your attention to something that came today.
Okay.
So Maritza sent me this. Lisa Rinna, just you guys know how much love I have for Lisa Rinna. She posted this on her Instagram stories today. Sunday truths. I'm like the LeBron James of Housewives at this point. You can't afford to lose me. And that was, and then she added Michael Rappaport. And I'm like, that's Lisa. Michael Rappaport lives so far up you and Erica Jane's ass that it's like nobody like. Listen, I enjoy Michael Rappaport as like a fun novelty act kind of thing, but like you don't like throw a quote Michael Rappaport's way or like something that he had said about you. Like nobody gives a shit legitimately about Michael Rappaport. Right. Don't use him as your like litmus of like I must be LeBron James. You aren't.
It's embarrassing. And to be honest, like again, I'm not fully caught up, but I know everything. Like you said, I spend a couple of minutes on Instagram. I know everything that's happened on these latest Aspen episodes, but it's like Lisa is almost like losing her ability to like maintain the attention of the group to meddle. Like I feel like people like Crystal and Sutton are just like sick of her shit. I think Kyle is starting to realize that like, oh, like I've got to get in with other people here because this is like a ticking time bomb with Lisa and Erica. And I don't know. It's just like,
she had an interview with Interview Magazine this week or something. And she was walking some runway show for the New York Fashion Week. And it was pretty much the interviewer was like, so, there's rumors that you might not come back to the season and all that. And, but and Lisa in pure humble fashion was like, I'm the only housewife walking a runway show. So you tell me if, does the show need me? Does I need like, it was like some so egotistical bullshit. And I'm like, you are like a novelty act as well. And I just personally think I always thought Lisa Rinna would be able to stay as long as she wanted until they put Dorinda on pause. And then the season happened and she's been kind of a monster where I'm like, at a certain point, I get like, you can only see the same movie again and again so many times. Like I've seen this now so many times that it's like, she keeps saying, I'm taking the fall because I'm playing the villain and that you need the villain in the show. I agree with that. But sometimes if you keep being the villain year in, year out, like even like Dexter, remember every year they would have a new villain. They would have a new bad guy. It was like the big bad, they would call him. Lisa can only be the big bad for so many seasons. And I just don't, and she's lost trust with so many of the cast members in terms of like, will she turn on me next? That I just don't know how much farther. And this isn't like, I legitimately wonder this, how much farther do you go with this person, Yeah.
And the thing that's so like, what is interesting to me with Lisa this season is she has like built her brand, like her entire Housewives character on the fact that she's like, meant like gonna say it like it is, own it, da 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 da. Yep. And then she does a complete 180 when it comes to Erica. And it's like, well, Lisa, you're a fraud and you can't be selective about who you're choosing to hold accountable for their actions, but you're trying to do that. And then it makes you look uncredible. Not credible.
Not credible, I think. Yeah. I mean, it's true. It's truly very, very bizarre to me because I've never like she legitimately seems like she's spiraling in the media. She's Kanye on a D level, like it's a Kanye West on a D level to me, where it's just like, oh my God, like girl, like save your oxygen. Like you keep saying you're not going to talk about housewives anymore on your Instagram. And then you end up like just it's like another thing where it just is embarrassing. It's like if my mom started, it's like Addison Rae's parents. Like if my mom started, coming out on Instagram hard saying I'm the best there ever was, I'd be like, Mom, come on, just chill. Could you be my mom?
It's getting embarrassing is what it is. Like it's like she's trying to keep herself relevant, but it's very translucent or transparent of
totally
what she's doing at this point. And we're like, Lisa, just stop.
Also, there was a Dumois item this weekend, Erica Jane, and saw Erica Jane in West Hollywood, and she was wasted and making out with one of the go-go boys at Mickey's, which is a gay bar in West Hollywood. Friends saw her outside smoking a cigarette, and she was throwing around the new album she has coming out to anyone who would listen. What a not so pretty mess. Can you imagine if you're walking down West Hollywood and you're like, I got new music coming out. Yeah, kiss me. I would like,
oh my God.
And I love Boys Town. I love the whole, but like, they're all cheering her on in there. These people, I have a feeling, have such warped views of how people actually view them that it's bizarre,
Of course. Because they're only focusing on the people that give them that positive reinforcement. And so they live in this bubble in their mind that they are not at fault at all. Like Erica is, again, like I am so team Crystal. I'm so proud of Crystal and the clips that I've seen of her.
She did great this week.
Eloquently defending the situation at hand. And she's just making Erica look so bad. And in the words of Garcelle, Erica can do that all on her own. But she's just sitting there so calmly spitting facts that I'm like, how can you even
because that's what this show needs though, is that, I always sometimes think Crystal is too normal for this show. Like I'm like, she's probably going to have the best life out of all of them because she has cool kids, cool husband. Seems like she has her issues, but we all do, but sometimes they're not dramatic enough as like an Erica Jane or a Lisa Rinna.
Yes.
But then this week I started reconsidering that because I was like, she spoke so eloquently about the situation where that's what we need, is to remind people that when Erica Jane goes, it was dismissed without prejudice. You need somebody to go, actually, it was not. It was just, out of Chicago, they ended it and refiled over in Los Angeles.
Yes.
None of this is actually true. It's how we paint ourselves, is that Erica is not a reliable narrator. I always use the concept of a reliable narrator. Crystal is. Crystal has not proven yet that she cannot be trusted. So I will trust something out of Crystal's mouth way more than any of the other ladies.
Agreed. Hands down. Well said, Ryan.
Thank you. Well said, Lex. I mean, we both well said things. Also, Kathy Hilton, let me posit a theory. So the other thing that happened this week was Lisa Rinna was being a dick about Kathy's tequila Casa del Sol, and she wanted my friend Kendall Jenner's 818 tequila, which that's another embarrassing thing. My friend Kendall Jenner, but and then the editors trolled her with all the times Kathy had presented the Casa del Sol at all of these other events. I don't think it's as much of a troll as they think it is, though, because it's like every housewife does this. Rinna Rosé, Rinna needs this show next year more than she does this year when Rinna Rosé actually comes out. So and damn well she'll push it every episode.
Absolutely she will. And she'll probably make some comment about how Kathy did it. So she's doing it too. But
it's like this all started even with Bethany, Skinny Girls Cocktails. How many Real Housewives in New York? Every housewife does this. Kathy Hilton,
Vita
by the
tequila?
way.
Vita tequila. I hear it every episode.
Kathy Hilton. I mean, what I'm saying is Kathy Hilton definitely has her faults. I always say that, but I don't think promoting a product to be on the show, that was probably why she did the show in the first place. Exactly. Is let me product placement on that show, like all the other girls do. I will say this. I read this somewhere this week and it made a lot of sense to me. Remember that Kathy came in halfway through the season already, kind of, or missed the first part because she didn't sign her contract yet. Is that I think, and what I had read in this thing is that these other ladies were pissed at Kathy by the time she decided to come in. Because think about it, even at your job, think about if you're somebody that you work with at your desk they just got like 2 weeks off, and they didn't, it doesn't count against their PTO. They just got 2 weeks off. They come in all of a sudden, they've missed the last 2 weeks where you've been busting your butt.
Yeah.
And think about all these other ladies, like Rinna's like, I've been filming this whole time. They're pissed probably already. And then Kathy comes in trying to push her tequila. That's probably annoying to these ladies. And that's why maybe some of the reactions we're getting on camera from Lisa, especially, and Erica, is that she didn't have to be here the whole time. That's actually
a fair point. Yes.
Yeah.
And they're ticked off because now she's getting camera time away from them and shouldn't put in the work.
And I think Rinna is also pissed because online, Rinna has been bitching about Kathy Hilton since they actually filmed the Aspen trip. Yeah. Remember this? She made noise that weekend. This campaign against Rinna against Kathy has been going on since it actually filmed. And I think Rinna is even losing it even more because nobody truly cares. We still haven't seen what Kathy's done. That's how this episode ended this week with text messages from Kathy saying, I'm staying silent. Lisa, texts Erica saying it was crazy. She went wild in the Sprinter van. She said mean things about Kyle. And we're going to see this play out now for the rest of the season. I just don't know if I care at this. I mean, it's got to be really bad for me to
so I am very unclear because again, I remember at the beginning of filming, everyone talked about how Kathy did something really bad, possibly racist, possibly.
Yes. Well, possibly homophobic, I had heard, said a slur to the DJ, maybe at this club, I had heard.
I'm like, I didn't know people were like Team Kathy. Then she comes on to this season and everybody seemingly is into Kathy, but then we got those texts as a to be continued or a next week between her and Lisa. And I'm like, is this like what's happening? Like what is actually going on? And are people going to flip their switch on Kathy after next week?
I feel like it almost, she already, when she made that mistake about calling Lizzo precious on Watch What Happens Live, there was already a huge uproar at Kathy at that point, and that kind of rode out. Like, I almost think maybe the big outrage got already done for Kathy a couple of weeks ago. So the big outrage that might be coming is not going to mean anything because we already go, Kathy says dumb fucking things. No offense, Kathy, but Kathy says dumb things. Kathy reminds me a lot of my mom in a lot of ways. And I don't mean about slurs and stuff like that, but I mean, my mom says wild shit. Like, she's been on the podcast and she'll say wild shit. And Kathy was at that club in her PJs, you guys. Kathy was the only one not in glam because Kathy's like, I don't even care, man. You guys won't even drink my tequila.
I love that about her, that she's just like, whatever, and shows up. She's like, I'm ready for bed. I'm going to bed. I'm waking up when I want to. She marches to the beat of her own drum. And I do really respect that.
As we start winding down here, wait, by the way, check your phone. Has this guy said anything to you?
Nothing yet.
Okay. Nothing yet. Okay. Play the alarm again.
I know. Let me do it.
Yeah, please do it.
It looks like he's still at his apartment.
So here's the thing. He might be at his apartment and it's in the car.
That's what I think.
Okay. So I thought you were saying you thought he was driving around.
No, so he was at his apartment this morning, then he was at another location, and now he's back at his apartment. And we're gonna get this phone. Where is it literally 10 minutes away from me? I drove by it this morning.
That's the only thing to find my iPhone. And you guys, now they have these air tags, and I put it on my keys and in my wallet because I lose everything, and they really are helpful to a degree. Okay, as we start winding down, do you pay attention to Southern Charm at all?
Yes, I want to talk about so that is where I am. Okay. I don't know why this season I'm like in it.
I got to tell you, I thought it was like a mess of a season, but it's something that was really enjoyable. The last 2 episodes, I feel I've gotten past even the mess I was enjoying and now gotten to just enjoyable, where I'm like, they are falling apart. Like when Craig drinks heavy, it's good TV.
Yeah. I could not believe how he just did all those shots, came back down at that table and like went at Naomi. Like, it was so out of place. And I was just like, I honestly felt bad for Paige. Like, I'm like, if Paige
has to watch this.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know how you sit there and you're like cool with it. Cause it is very clear to me that like he has residual feelings. I'm not saying he's in love with Naomi, but he has like unresolved and residual feelings.
You are dead on right. Is that like he cares so hard? And I agree. I don't think he's actively in love with Naomi.
Yeah.
But there are, and this is a very male thing as well. And I don't mean, because females obviously get their heart broken probably more, but when you break a man's heart, there's like this male masculinity aspect of it where it's like, how dare you? I'm a guy. How dare you break? I'm supposed to break your heart. And he, you can tell like it is just seething. Like even, like the beginning of the season at Naomi's party, he was like, I'm just sad you didn't get to see this guy, this new Craig, because you'd really like him. He's amazing. Like he said, he is so pissed that she did this to him in the first place. He truly is, I think, happier with Paige. But once somebody gets something over on somebody that considers themselves pretty great, they never forget it.
Absolutely. I 10 out of 10 agree. And I definitely think he's happy with Paige, but you're right. It's like, he cannot get over that Naomi like broke his heart. And every time he drinks or they're around each other, it is so clear and evident. Like, and now with the Whitney thing too, he's so jealous. When they were at the cabin and he was outside, when they were in the room together, I was like, Craig, this is embarrassing.
Yeah. I mean, and I always question like, okay, what's for the show and what's this, but that it seems very real. The other thing is, I need your opinion on, is Austin had a conversation with Taylor, Shep's ex-girlfriend, in this, where he's like, he teared up and he was like, I see the way he treats you and you're just too great and And like, he was making tons of sense. And he was like calling out his friend kind of like, hey, he's not going to change. This is the person that he is. What was your opinion on Austin this episode?
I don't say this lightly because I'm not an Austin fan. I loved Austin this episode. Like, I could not. He
made a lot of sense.
Austin was the voice of reason, but I also like, it was very genuine to me, the amount of empathy that he had for Taylor. And it was like clear that it was not sitting right with him, the Raya profile, all of that stuff. And then when Shep was in the car talking about how he wants Taylor to quit her job and how he was like, no, man, like, stop. Like, it is very like, I was very impressed with Austin, but it's very clear to me that he cares about Taylor. And I feel like what Shep is doing to her is probably way worse than we see on the show, because he seems very, very serious about it.
He's very comfortable doing it, and he doesn't even realize when he's doing it sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is, I agree with you about Austin. My one issue with that, though, is, well, where were these deep thoughts when how he was treating Sierra and Lindsay in the summer house? Like, where were these deep thoughts of conversation when he was playing both of them against each other? It's like you're able to laser pinpoint the issues between Taylor and Shep, but there's no personal responsibility taken for you. In fact, you still to this day, and it's hysterical, it's like he gets away. Like everybody keeps saying, it's always like, Sophie will be like, he's tall. Like, that's the excuse. Like, he gets away with it because he's tall. Like, he's tall. And I'm like, I'm so tired of that being a legitimate excuse. Like, that actually means something, but where, like, this means.
I want to say something.
Please.
Seeing this side of Austin made me consider that it's not the tall thing. There's clearly a part of him that is very charming and like
has game, his talking intelligence. Game. Yeah.
And like, I am positive that there is a side of him that these girls have seen that they don't put on the show that makes him attractive and appealing. Like,
that's a great point.
To that.
No, you're right. You can be talked into going away with Kanye. I mean, you can really legitimately be talked away. No, but this
doesn't take much.
So the thing with Austin, though, is that you're right. He does legitimately understand. Like, he was understanding the complexities of this relationship. But what I'm saying, though, then that makes him even more of a devil, because he does understand complexities. So he does know exactly what he's doing. And I also think there's a little bit of Tom Schwartz in him, where he'll drink heavily so he can do bad behavior.
Yes.
He can almost blame it on that, because he legitimately knows emotionally what he's doing is wrong. But also, we tell ourselves lies. We tell that. I'm just saying that this almost proves my point even more of like, the dude fucking knows. And that's even more gross that he did that shit he did to Sierra and Lindsay.
Yes.
But nobody is smart enough around him to have the conversations that he's having to Taylor. Like, imagine if Shep then went to Lindsay and said, or Sierra, and say, yo, he wants to sleep with you. You're hot. He does not want a relationship with you at all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that is what's going on. Sierra.
That is exactly what's happening.
So anyways, great. But also, we got the Winter House trailer for season 2. Didn't that look amazing?
It looks so good. I actually really love that the Toms are there, your besties.
Yes.
And they make a little cameo. I could not believe the Lindsay rumor they dropped in the trailer. Did you see?
Tell everybody what the Lindsay rumor is.
So it was Paige, and I think she's talking to Sierra. I forget who it was, but the day that her and Carl, their first date, was it, if I'm correct?
Yeah.
In the morning, she was in Austin's bed and her hand was placed in his lap when he woke up. Did you see that? It was like a little part. I had to go back and watch it. And I was like, oh, that's going to be really bad, because then like, obviously Lindsay and Carl come visit the house and now they're engaged. And I'm just like, ooh, this isn't good.
No, it's not good at all. Again. I mean, but it looked amazing. And you even had Tom Sandoval, Tom Schwartz show up, and they even get, they were only there for a weekend and they got a lot of screen time on the preview, because I do love how like the Marvel universe, they're really setting this up is because then this is going to feed into Vanderpump Rules, which they finished filming last night, the season 10. And it's going to feed into this because they're asking about Katie, Schwartz's wife. And then the last line is Schwartz going, I think I have alcohol poisoning, which was just classically delivered. Okay, so Winter House looks incredible. Yeah. Vanderpump Rules, you guys, like I said, they finished filming this weekend. You'll see on Instagram, they did Ariana and Katie's sandwich shop. There's Just Something About Her, I think it's called. Yeah. Where there's something about her, which is very Nancy Meyers. And they had a grand opening for that. And Schwartz and Sandy's is not going to be open yet, but I think they filmed a scene where they're acting like it's open.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, because last night was the last night of filming. And I know a couple of people that went, and I know it's not open to the public yet. It was supposed to be, but I think they had a couple of issues. Like I had went to the Daily Mail party that it was like the grand opening, and this was like 2 months ago. So, and then they did like a friends and family the next week that I didn't go to. And then I think they ran into some issues. So hopefully it'll be open soon for people in LA, because we got to go. That'll be fun, right?
Absolutely.
We can finally actually meet. We
have to go.
So yeah, no. So I'm excited. Are you doing BravoCon?
No, I'm not. Are you?
Yeah. I'm waiting to find out though. There's a couple things up in the air about BravoCon, and that's why I haven't made any announcements on here about like things that I might be doing work-wise. So I'm waiting to find out. Like,
yes. I mean, now that I think about it, I just realized I might have to be in New York for work. I might be have to speak on a panel that same weekend. So maybe I should just go.
Well, you should, first off, but two, I consider you not only an influencer and all this and a really positive influence for women in general, but also you're like a really strong business person. Yeah. And this is a question I struggle with that I was going to ask you away from pop culture, is that I always hate that I have to sell myself. Mm-hmm. And that we have to be our biggest cheerleaders, that we have to, and it always feels I've done this now close to 3 years, and it's, progressively gotten better and better, but I still every day have to shout out myself every day. And it feels so creepy. And then I was having to write a letter to a business on Friday and remind them of who sell myself again over this email, just to get like a call or a Zoom. But the thing was, I genuinely believe I can do what I was setting and I usually wouldn't set in such a strong email, but how do you get over the fact that we do have to shout and then this is for everybody out there. We have to shout our own qualities out all the time. How do we do that in the right way? Is there a right way?
I mean, I think it's a couple of things, right? First of all, from a mindset perspective, I always show up for myself because I'm nobody is going to do it for me or better than me. And then I always think too, it's we are so quick to say all these negative things about ourselves, but just pause and think about all of the amazing shit that you do. You're such a talented person. You're so smart, so funny, so bright. And it's why don't you want to recognize all of those qualities? And I know that it makes you uncomfortable, but you have to kind of move that feeling to the side.
Yeah,
no one's going to do it for you.
No, it is. I think it's just one of the frustrating parts about any job, though, or even trying to get to the next level, is that you have to remind people of this is who I am, and this is what. And then it was funny because I was writing this letter and I was writing all these things, and I was like, Oh shit, I really do have a lot of. I was like, oh my god, I've done a hosting thing for that.
I know what you're talking
I've done
about.
live trade shows. I've done live, like I've done, and then I was like, oh, well, I actually fully am qualified for this job,
Yes.
or this job I was going for. And I just thought it was interesting because you always seem like you are, even if you don't feel that way inside, you always seem secure in a non-egotistical way.
Yes. And I think
Non-egotistical is the key word there.
I think what it comes down to what you just said is like, I've done the work. I feel completely confident in like speaking about my capabilities or my career wins or whatever, because it's like, I've done the work. Like, I know that a lot of people online are always surprised when I say how old I am, and I'm not going to say it on here, but like, I've had a lot more
16 years old, you guys, 16 years old. And she's already so far past all of us.
I've had a lot of years that I spent doing that work. And so it's like, I know what I've done and I know where I've been and like how I've got here. And so for me, it's like, I just want to come from a place of encouraging and helping other people, because I know that it's not easy and I know that it takes time, but it's also not impossible.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I always, and that, I always get that feeling from, I'm not your core demographic either of like the people that you reach out to, but like, I'm just like always so impressed. And I was like, you know what, you would be somebody that I should go to when I have questions about business, or even like not selling yourself, but like, this is what I'm looking to do. What do you recommend? Like, what's the best way? And it is one of those things is that you have to take these, they might feel like huge leaps inside of yourself, you guys, but in reality, they're kind of small steps that is just in our mind we built up. Because I had built up this letter for and then I wrote it. I was like, oh, well, this is dumb. And it was just to get like a Zoom thing.
I know,
and they immediately wrote back. They're like, yeah, let's get that scheduled. Let's get that. Yeah, we definitely want to.
You're like, why was this so hard for me to do?
And in my head, it was just this monster. It was a monster of a thing. Okay, what are we looking forward to this week? Anything of note, Lex? Or we have the Kardashians premiering.
Kardashians. I want to say I think I'm one episode behind, but I am loving Real Girlfriends of Paris. Have you watched
I do too, actually. Yes. Isn't it like,
it's like refreshing and like easy. I really, really like it. So looking forward to that. I started that show, Tell Me Lies, on Hulu, and it's very sexy.
Wait, can you tell me? Please explain all of femaledom to me, because it's like I had to watch those 50 Shades of Grey movies, and I remember when they came out and like girls like falling over these books and all this stuff, and then I watched it and I'm like, this is ridiculous, you guys. What are we? We're okay, this isn't
not
erotic.
Like that. It's not like that. What makes it sexy, and this is fucked up, I will say it, but this is how I will generalize with my ladies over here. Like it's following this couple throughout their like relationship, but it's like the most toxic relationship, but like the most toxic relationships make for the best like romantic partnerships, because you're like so fucked up. And so it's just like all of this like push pull sexiness, but then also like drama. And you're like, this is so toxic, but I cannot look away. And they're just hot.
By the way, I feel like you should have just started with, and they're hot, and then period. Like, they're hot, period. And that's why I watch this. Okay, so that's called what again?
Tell Me Lies.
Tell Me Lies. I want to recommend this awful show that's been around for a long time, but I got into it during the pandemic, and it premiered last week on TLC again, Sister Wives. Oh. And the second episode is on tonight, but Cody and Christine, one of the sister wives, they split up last week, and it's really kind of just it reminded me of my theater days. If I was still doing theater, I would do this as a one act play, because it was just two people talking about how to break out of this plural marriage. And it was like super intense. And it was because this guy, Cody, that has like, he's not set out for plural marriage, even though he's done it for the last 20 plus years. And he has a favorite wife, which is like a no-no in plural marriage. You're not supposed to have a favorite, but everybody knows this lady Robbins. It's like Mauricio, Dorit, and Kyle. So yes. I recommend that. I also recommend, there's a 3-part docuseries on Netflix that just came out on Wednesday called Sins of Our Mother. And it's about the Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell trial based on the murders that I don't even think I have to say allegedly they committed, but it is a dark story about religion, with zombies. I mean, just a tragic story. Did you watch this?
I haven't watched it. I watched the trailer and I was like, how is this real life and these poor kids? So it's definitely on my list. Good reminder. Thank you.
And also Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is going to be premiering, I think, the week after this one. I watched the season premiere and it is really good, you guys. It is really good. And it's, I love it because if you remember season 2, we started with the Sprinter van being pulled over with Jen Shaw. And so you started there and you were all excited. And then they waited like 3/4 of the way to the season to get to that Sprinter van episode. Yeah. This doesn't start we get Jen Shaw stuff, but then we, get all of this other stuff that is really based around Lisa and Meredith that is fascinating. And I really enjoyed that they didn't, they tease a little bit about the guilty thing in the episode or being not guilty, but then they focus on these other things, which I think is a really smart way to go, because remember, they filmed this entire season before she had changed her plea to guilty. Yeah. So this whole season, she's going to go through saying that she is not guilty, which is wild, knowing that she then changes her plea, which brings another layer of weird entertainment to it.
I know. And that's the thing. Again, I cannot understand how this woman went a whole season claiming she was innocent to only change her plea. And then I think, was there a clip in the trailer when she's like, Stu set me up or screwed me over?
Yeah. See, this is all because of Stu. Wait, the Stu that you would yell at and he'd drive you around that Stu, the one that you fell on the ice last season and he picked you up, that Stu. It's okay. But she's a scrapper. And also remember, some people out there don't mind lying. Some people are very comfortable with it. Okay, so we need Lex to get her phone back. So we're going to send out good vibes for that. She's going to keep us posted to make sure she gets this phone back. Let me know if you need help. How do we support you, though? Because listen, I'm so damn pissed that your podcast still you're not doing new episodes.
I know.
What is going on? How do we support you right now besides following you on Instagram and TikTok?
Follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Lex Niko. I will come back on and share some stuff with you soon of what's in the works.
Yeah. Cause by the way, you did an takeover. You done you've got come on, man. You're hostess.
Oh yeah. No, I've done that stuff. It's been really good. But on the podcast front, I'm trying to figure it out. And I think something's gonna click.
Sounds like you already have. If we're gonna do a podcasting war, it starts right now.
Oh, let's go
right now. I'm not big on the Royals. I don't have so much knowledge. This has all been playing catch up this last, couple weeks. But you are an expert on the Royals, Lex.
Dialed in. I am.
Please tell us what the dirt is, because Harry and Meghan weren't allowed at this big party, the big showstopper party today.
Yeah. So they were invited and then uninvited. It's still unclear as to why, but there were a few things that happened after the Queen passed away that have been very back and forth. The first thing, Charles was crowned king. But what people don't know is even though we've seen so much about Harry talking about his difficult relationship with his father, Charles and Wills also have a pretty difficult relationship. So it was interesting when there were all of those headlines that it was Wills and Kate invite Harry and Meghan for a walkabout and blah, blah, blah. And everyone's that's so nice. The Fab Four and yada, yada. And in my mind, I'm Wills is on because he's I'm going to do this. This is what everyone's going to talk about. Nobody's going to be talking about that my dad is the king. And in my mind, it was a strategic play in that capacity. And then we saw them obviously they were
because you think William wants attention.
Yes. Yes. He wants to take attention away from his dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
My question to you is, and this is why the hatred right now between William and his brother?
So I think it comes down to the fact that
Meghan? What? It's all Meghan? Is it all Meghan?
I think it's Meghan. And I think it comes down to the fact that when everything was happening behind the scenes and in the press, Wills didn't stand with Harry and his asks for more protection, for more security, for them to stand up and speak out more. And he really sided with the crown and with his family and blah, blah. And essentially that's you're going to side with them. You're hella racist. And then, of course, there was the added layer that Kate and Meghan don't get along. And it just, all became increasingly difficult. But I think it really stems from the fact that he expected his brother to side with him And he didn't do that.
So, I mean, and are you pro Meghan, or are you, I mean, did you listen to her podcast? Did you listen to, where do you stand on Meghan and
here's the thing.
Harry?
I love Meghan. I think sometimes the words that come out of her mouth, I cannot believe, like when she compared herself to
a diva.
No, who was it? The South African man.
Oh, Mandela.
Nelson Mandela. I was like, girlfriend, are you for real right now? So like she does things like that I'm like, I cannot.
It doesn't do her any favors.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that she is like, I think that her and Harry are good. I think that like the way that they show up, like, you know, even when they all were going to the Queen, because they did her like laying in state and they all were there. And then when they were leaving, they're like holding hands. And I'm like, I get it. Like you're there for your man. You guys are a united front. You're a unit. Like I appreciate that, even though I do think it's like kind of for show. But sometimes.
But isn't most of royalty for show to begin with?
Yes, of course. It's the pomp and
But why didn't Meghan go with Harry when he was rushing to see his grandma before she passed, or she died before he got there?
Yeah.
But she didn't go with him. Why do you think?
That was a thing. And so I think that she like either was like, it's going to be too much drama if I go, or they like decided that, or the royal family asked her not to go and she was upset about it. But I also think it's strategic and optics because Kate stayed with their kids. So Meghan stayed because it wouldn't look right for her to go and Kate not go.
Wow. So, I mean, when does the festivities, is it today, the last day of festivities, or because, by the way, also I read today, you know, the line queued for like up to 4 miles to see the Queen lying in state, and somebody tried to tackle the coffin.
Yes. Somebody tried to tackle the coffin. There were there was news of like sexual assault in the queue. Like, what are these people doing?
What?
Yes. Insanity.
Oh my God. And then, I mean,
funeral is tomorrow, I believe. And like you said, there was some sort of reception at the palace.
Yeah, with all the world leaders, because like
Yes.
Joe Biden just got over there today, but not like all the leaders.
And
from
Harry
all of
and
these
Meghan are
places.
disinvited from that. And that I don't know why, because up until now, they've been doing everything by the book and everybody's been getting along. And then there was the whole thing where Harry couldn't wear his uniform.
Military. And then even I thought Andrew wasn't supposed to wear his military uniform. And then that asshole's in military garb.
So there was like public outrage that Andrew got to wear it. So then they went back on that decision, but then they were invited to the palace and then they were disinvited. And it's still not, there's been no like official news about why.
If I think the Royals finally got me, like there needs to be a show about the Royals. That's all I'm saying. First off, because it needs to be brought to the common people, that because now I'm like fully, this is like Melrose Place. This is like 90210.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm like I had no clue it was this petty. It
is so petty. It is so petty. And like it's this like push and pull of tradition and like the modern day. Like it's crazy. And
Lex, would you date a guy with Prince Charles's hands? He has these big hamburger helper hands. The hamburger help, you know, the
and
mascot.
I'm not here trying to date anybody, okay? The hands are not a problem.
So you'll even date a guy with big hamburger helper hands? Like it looks like it's like a balloon that's about to pop his hands.
I wouldn't turn him away on a cold night.
So worried about. Hey, you know what? Maybe we don't need the phone anymore. Maybe let's just let this guy have the phone in the Uber. I don't feel like you need to talk to anybody ever again.
Please come check.
Wait. Sorry, one last thing now. Wait. Now what is the dating situation like? Where are we taken? Are you taken? Oh, you are you?
No.
Can you break news that you have a boyfriend right now?
I do not have a boyfriend.
Is that what we're saying? Is it wait, no. What, because you said at some point, I thought you said you were like getting off the apps. Yeah, you've been gone all summer.
I was not on the apps, but I guess I've been dating somebody casually.
What does casual mean? Like just you wear jeans around each other? Like what does that mean?
He's not my boyfriend. I'm not his girlfriend. But we have fun.
That's great. We got an exclusive. Okay,
There we
bad it's
go.
good, and it's at the very end. So who knows if people will
And
hear that?
remember my crush? My crush also has a girlfriend now. I just found that out this week.
Oh yeah, because Lex says sometimes back in the days, old Lex, she would give herself a treat by going to look at her crush's Instagram stories and see if her Instagram crush would look at her stories, I think, or something.
Mm-hmm.
But you are still looking at your past Instagram crush's stories.
I didn't. Somebody that is like a mutual sent me the picture. And I was like, good for him.
That's not helpful. Don't, you know what? Don't.
No,
hey,
it's
if you're a friend,
it's not.
No. Because I feel like that's hurtful. Then it makes you then go back to that headspace of thinking about this guy again.
Yes, but I'm past it. I've accepted.
But what do you think about the girl? Were you like that girl?
Yes.
Were you like that girl?
Only because like she's cute, but she's like not the same style as me in the sense of like she's very like hipstery. And I was like, oh yeah. So maybe we wouldn't have worked. Like it was actually helpful,
That's interesting. Well, I appreciate, and we can go on record as saying that person is Chris Evans, right? We can go on.
Yes.
We can go on record.
Second exclusive. Chris Evans has a girlfriend.
Okay, damn it! It's too much fun talking to you. Okay, we will talk to you next time.
Awesome.